Africa is one of the major consumers of potash. Actually, the consumption of potash or use of potash has grown exponential in the last decade or so. But the continent doesn't have domestic production.
Hello, you're watching Proactive. I'm joined by Millennial Potash Chairman Farhad Abasov. Farhad, very good to speak with you. The U.S. International Development Finance Corporation has committed up to $3 million in development funding for Banio. What is the strategic investment signal to institutional investors about the project's geopolitical and economic importance?
Hi, Soon. Good to see you, and thank you for the question. So this is actually a major milestone for us because it really de-risks the project on many accounts. The first of all, of course, $3 million investment, and that's non-dilutive funding. In other words, it's not equity, it's not debt. It is structured as loan, but it doesn't come with any interest payments and a collateral, etc. And we can return those funds only when we actually raise enough funds to build this project. So it's very, very important for our shareholders to understand it. And the second thing, of course, is geopolitical mitigation of risks. And that is extremely important as well. We're in West Africa, although Gabon is one of the most stable countries on the continent, it still was very important to have a very strong strategic partner such as US DFC back us in this particular project. So that means that it mitigates risk in the country, in the region, but also it shows that there's a significant commitment on the part of DFC going forward. Remember, this is just a small part of their overall financing approach. So these specific funds are earmarked for feasibility study. And as we go forward, DFC has actually an ability to come in and help us with construction funding as well. So it's a major milestone for us going forward.
Farhad, food security has been cited as a key driver behind the DFC's interest in Banio. How does Millennial's vision of potash from Africa for Africa align with global trends and long-term demand fundamentals?
Stephen, if you look at the supply-demand situation in potash specifically, you will see that about 75% of the entire potash supply comes from only three countries. That's Canada, Russia, and Belarus. Africa is one of the major consumers of potash. Actually, the consumption of potash or use of potash has grown exponential in the last decade or so. But the continent doesn't have domestic production. There are a few potash projects in Africa, but they haven't reached production. So our task, our aim here is actually to put this project in production in the next couple to 3 years so that it can become the first African potash producer to supply the demand and meet the demand for potash on the continent itself. So that's a huge step forward. And I think that's what appeals to organizations like DFC, our current shareholders, of course, hopefully future shareholders, because this is a very unique project, whereas we are right on the coast. This is going to be probably one of the lowest cost producers in the world, and with a very strong support coming from the government of Gabon and as well as from the US DFC, we think we can actually put this in production in the next few years.
Given the involvement of both the US government and the president of Gabon, how has this strengthened Millennial's position when it comes to securing future development capital or potential strategic partnerships?
So, Steve, I mean, what happens in projects like this, usually investors look at a few parameters for potash projects specifically. One of them is, of course, economic viability. And we've already put out a preliminary economic assessment last year, and we'll probably finish our feasibility study next year. And so far, it shows that this is going to be one of the lowest cost structures in the world. That's probably number one reason for shareholders to look at a project like this or for future investors. And the other thing is, of course, availability of infrastructure. So most potash basins happen to be smack in the middle of continents, like in Saskatchewan or the Ural Mountains in Russia. We happen to be right on the coast. So infrastructure logistics become a lot easier compared to many other projects worldwide. Now, and you mentioned, of course, the support coming from the US government and the Gabonese government. And what that means that basically we're working in partnership with those two organizations to make sure that all the other issues around the project can be handled in a timely fashion. And I think that should give tremendous comfort level to potential investors and, of course, institutional investors.
You've just completed the BA-004 drill hole following strong results from the BA-001 extension, and that's further strengthened the project's geological profile. With the DFC funding now supporting your feasibility study, Farhad, how did these phase 2 drilling results and the US backing enhance the scale economics and de-risking of Banio as you move towards production?
So we have finished there's 2 holes recently. And as you may remember, we also drilled a couple of holes last year. So the 2 holes that we just finished, they will go into the revised 43101 technical report. That will probably be out sometime in September, October this year. And hopefully that will tremendously expand our existing resource. Remember, we have 1.7 billion tons of indicated and inferred resource covering only less than 5% of our property. So even with these 2 holes, new holes, it will still cover less than 7-8% of the property. So we think that the upside is tremendous. But hopefully, when the second revised report comes out, we'll see much larger resource, and that will kickstart our feasibility study because quite a bit of that resource will be indicated in potential measured categories as well, and that means that the feasibility can go ahead full speed along with environmental baseline studies. So those 2 programs will go hand in hand, and of course with this funding coming from DFC, that will allow us to actually, not wait or delay any program because we'll have plenty of funding to actually proceed with all these programs. That means that, again, we will be on track with this project. We'll be able to get to the point where we can actually apply for mining permit sometime in the middle of the next year.
Well, congratulations on getting that funding, Farhad. I hope you'll keep us posted on progress at the project.
Thank you so much, sir.
That's Farhad Abasov, the chairman of Millennial Potash.